begin with the Pule by Commissioner Ilikini.
Let us pray. Dearest Heavenly Father, first and foremost, we thank you for this wonderful day, and we thank you for the blessings for you bringing us here safely. We ask that your wisdom be with us today on the second day of the Hawaiian Homes Commission at Kuhiohale in Waimea. Be with us so that we can move forward what our Prince Jonah Kalaniana Ole has put forth in the words of God. And we ask that you look over us throughout the day, and when we all depart at the end of our meeting, so everyone returns to their place safely. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
The meeting of the Hawaiian Homes Commission is called to order. The meeting is being held virtually on Zoom and in person at the Kuhiohale 64-756 Malamohoa Highway, Kaumuela, Hawaii 96743. I am Akai Freitas, West Hawaii Commissioner, sitting in for Chairperson Cully Watson. Today's date is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025, and the time is 9:42. Leah, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kalekini.
Aye.
Commissioner Kalepa.
Aye.
Commissioner Kaneakua.
Aye.
Commissioner Nomuo is joining us by Zoom. Good morning, Commissioner. Commissioner Nevis.
Aye.
And Chair Free.
Aye.
6 members. I think we have.
Today's agenda will begin with public testimony on agendized items, then J agenda. The commission will recess for lunch at 1 p.m. Public testimony.
I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Kimberly J. Kananionapua Abe. I am the wife of Harold Abe. I'm here before you to speak about the situation that had come to play. I've been on the list for over 40 years. I walked into the office of Hawaiian Homes with my grandmother. It was very important for me to be on this application and to be a part of the list. While doing this, we made sure that everything that I needed, all my ducks was in order to be on this list. Now, being on this list, you have to be 50%. Your quantum had to be 50%, correct? Am I correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So that, therefore, I am on the list. I've been on the list for over 40 years. We're now in the process of purchasing a home in hopes that we can now own one. Because it's going to be forever. I'll probably be dead by the time I actually get one awarded to me. So my husband and I decided we're gonna make this purchase. And as soon as we did, I was now questioned all of a sudden of my blood quantum. I find that appalling, saddened, hurt, betrayed, you name it. I beyond anger. It's because all these years, and not only being told, I'm part of this list of being 50%, I was told by my grandmother and by my mother. And I know they don't like to me. But now for someone that I don't know that is in Honolulu, re-looking over my application, I find it appalling. Now I'm being questioned. And now they're expecting more information of my genealogy. As soon as we buy a home, you tend to want to question people. Why? Is this your way of wanting to weed out people instead of awarding. I look upon this list and I see people that are part of my family that have passed away for years that are still on this list. Who's looking into that? And before you even put people on this list that make them believe that they are 50%, why aren't you weeding it out before they even become a part of this list? So we don't have such a long list if this is the case. I mean, this is questions I'm pretty sure somebody else has brought there before you. But why is this always reoccurring? I'm asking you and really pleading with you to take a look at this situation and make right by it. We were expected to be in this place, in this home that we would call home by now. I have made it clear with Michelle and everyone that I could speak to that actually picked up the phone, because getting in contact with applications on Honolulu is impossible. I leave 3 pleading messages with them to please contact me so I can do whatever it takes to get this process through, and not one return call, not one. And when I try again and again, guess what? The message is full. You can't even leave a message. Why is this? Because from what my understanding is, your office should be open for us to make contact with you. Am I not right? It should be easy enough. But no, it's like everybody's avoiding the situation. Why are you making it so complicated, so frustrating to get this process through? We are doing our part, but something and someone is dropping the ball. So I want to know, how is this going to get through? How long am I supposed to wait? I'm supposed to be out of my home by April. I've been pleading with this department over and over again. When I first signed the application, I asked Michelle, is there anything else that you need from me? Because I have it right here. No, Auntie, we got everything. You on the list, right? Yes. Then everything should be okay. I never know I was going to another process of application, because 40 years ago, I was already granted that with the presence of my grandmother. Why you never questioned that when she was alive? Why you never questioned that when my mama was alive? I could have had them right here testifying with me. Tell me, somebody please explain this to me. That when I was talking to Michelle, she asked me, did you get your form back? Did you get it in the mail? This was in February, nothing yet. I called back, I said, Michelle, did you hear word? No. Did you get anything in the mail yet? No. Nothing. I just got through talking to Jimmy. Only yesterday he tell me he would fill out the necessary papers, and now he gotta send them back to Oahu. And then they gotta send them back to him, and then go be sent back to me. What is that? Why can't somebody just directly give it to me? Give me the information. I find this appalling, hurtful, betrayed, you name it. I beyond anger already. I'm frustrated, and I want somebody to pick up the pieces and make right. That's all I ask. Is anybody willing to take that responsibility and make right?
Auntie, thank you for coming here today. You know, yeah, the ball was definitely dropped. There's lack of communication. There's a lack of a lot of things. You have every right to feel the way you are feeling today. Before we leave this meeting today, we will talk with Jim and Juan to figure out what's going on, what the steps are. If you provided adequate, valid documentation 41 years ago, that
Okay,
the documentation.
they go beyond that. the application form, and everybody should know this by heart. You send in your valid documents, certified valid documents. In this documents, it's in this form that you send when you're applying, tells you that if your grandparents are born before 1920, these are the documents you need to send in. Where you inherited this Hawaiian, where your genealogy is from. My grandparents were born before 1920. So I only needed this information of my mom, where I got my Hawaiian from, and my great-grandparent and my grandparents. I went beyond that and also sent in my great-grandparents' death certificate, which only stayed Hawaiian, nothing else. But I was just told outside, oh, they go beyond that now. Well, why you never do this before we got on the 50% list? Why? Because if that was the case, half of the list would be gone if that's the case. You're going to be weeding people out. Or why are you weeding people out when we already on the list? That's what I don't want to know. Because that shouldn't have to come. Once we on that list, guess what? We 50% Hawaiian. You guys should stand by that. That should hold. It should hold in court as well, because I'm going to fight this. Because all of a sudden, I over 60, and you guys telling me I'm not 50%. And I'm not telling you personally. Please don't get me wrong. But why is that? Now you're going to question my quantum. And then they tell me, well, this could have been from somebody else in your family background that will apply. Well, guess what? A lot of my family on this list, they share the same quantum as me. We all on this list. That doesn't make sense to me. And now you cannot weed me out all of a sudden because you guys the one when put me on the list to begin with. Because if that question was ever raised when I went to apply, I had my grandmother right there to let you guys know, but correct it. Who better than to make sure you guys got it? Now that everybody passed away and I'm all here by myself, this department wants to question me. And I'm not cool like them. I'm more soft. But you're going to put this in front of me. Guess what? They're going to be right beside me, sitting right here, standing right here beside me and telling me you stand for your rights and you let them know. So I want to know who's going to take responsibility for this and who's going to make sure this is going to move forward. Because it's not going to be the last you're going to hear from me if that's the case. Until this is right, made right.
Any commissioners, you want to say anything? Everybody?
I just, I know Juan spoke to your husband yesterday. And Juan's back there.
I don't like to hear excuses.
Yeah, so-
One was made. We were supposed to have gotten this letter, 2022. Guess what? He tell me was sent to the same address. I never got it. And what letter we talking about? Apparently, I don't know what letter we talking about because I never got it. Because I made the transfer here, because they said I made the transfer. My request for Hawaiian homes was for Oahu. This is not my home. That's why I did the transfer. I don't like live Oahu. Too much crap going on over there. This is my home. My mom has been on Hawaiian homes on Kipu'upu'u for years. And I wanted to make this home. My grandfather's from Ka'u. My great-grandfather is from Barn in Kohala. My roots is from here. I just as much from here as I am from Oahu. But all of a sudden, I go make this transfer, they said, That's when it came up. That's when it came up. We started questioning it. You should have questioned it from day one. From day one, 40-something years ago, it should have been in question. Once you went process my papers in front of my grandmother and said, yes, yes, auntie, your granddaughter is 50%. Question should never have ever sparked again. So you telling me this department 40-something years ago, never know what the hell they was doing, was granting all these people the right to call themselves 50% Hawaiian. And all of a sudden get some smarty pants can turn around and tell you that I never met, that's probably old enough to be my granddaughter. That, oh no, auntie, guess what? You lacking 2%. No, my grandmother was there. All my life, I was told I was 50%. From my grandparents, from my mother, and to this day, I will always be 50%. I don't care who the hell is in that office wanna challenge me and say otherwise. But I expect this commission to hear and make right. I expect someone to pick up that ball and go, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have ever gone through this. And cause I tell you what, everybody on that list gonna be sitting right here in front of you too. They're gonna be questioning you guys on why you wouldn't allow them to be on this list for over 40-something years or longer. Why you guys wouldn't do that to us? Why? Because that's heartbreaking. Why would you do that to your own people? And then all of a sudden, to weed us out, you either gonna wait till we dead or challenge us the day we're gonna be either awarded for one home or have to buy it on our own. Then you gonna like weed us out. Does not that sound disgraceful to you? That's like taking a special gift from a child and going, oh, I'm sorry. But that's not yours. Wasn't yours after all. I like know who brave enough to turn around and challenge everybody over there on Oahu, because that's your job. Am I not right?
No, you're right, Anthony. It is our job, and we'll make this thing right. We'll work with the
Thank you.
documents that are
Thank you.
the valid documents that are available, and with the department, and find a solution to this. There's a process, and you have like I said earlier, you have every right to have the emotions that you're going through right now. Sorry, we apologize. I have to go through this, but we will, as a collective body, will work.
I believe you will. I believe you will. Thank you.
I have a question though.
Sure.
Were you guys able to speak to Juan on the side yesterday?
Yes,
Okay, and this morning as well?
yes.
Okay,
I
and
like his answers.
Well,
Was-
yes,
To me, may I? To me, it was an excuse.
Mhm.
We sent you the letter. The letter, in fact, what it said had your address on it. And the letter would state everything. Once you get the letter, then you would have known. Well, I never received this letter. What letter are you talking about? How long was I supposed to wait for this letter? If I didn't transfer this, like they said, this wouldn't have even came up. But I never get them. But it reoccurred, they said, because now I want to purchase a home. I'm not awarded now. I've been on the list for 41 years. I'm not even awarded one. I go make this purchase. But now they're telling me, oh, but now because you made this transfer, this is what they told me out there. Now you're being questioned.
Anthony, hold on. Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Kanani, thank you for your testimony, and Harold for being here. Not knowing all the details of your specific situation, but one thing I can share, generally for myself anyway, as a part of the commission, we have heard numerous similar situations where beneficiaries have been on the wait list for decades. And we have, as a commission, had to make a decision on whether we keep those beneficiaries on, accepted as 50% or not. And unfortunately, there are many times where it took many, many years to get certain documents to confirm the blood quantum. It's very tough. I mean, I fully empathize with you because you're not the first one that has come before us to share this type of experience. And like I said, it's a very tough decision as a commissioner that we have to vote or make a decision that a certain beneficiary is not 50% after they've been on the list for decades. It's heartbreaking. I understand where you're coming from, but it's also tough on our side. But just wanted to share with you, we have hundreds, if maybe not 1,000. Several years ago, a committee was formed to address the blood quantum specifically. And a procedure was put together to update what our previous process was. It's very unfortunate, like I said, that sometimes it takes forever to get back. And I don't know the full details, but that's my understanding. And I want you guys to at least know from my perspective what we got to address too. But like Commissioner Freitas has mentioned, we'll do whatever we can to help out. I'll help out in any way.
I just don't understand, and I know I'm gonna repeat this again, but when people are applying for Hawaiian homes, they're gonna come in with all the information, all their ducks in order, so to speak. This should be done then. No, put them on the list with their hopes up high, believing, not in hopes now anymore, believing they are 50% Hawaiian. And then when time to be awarded or even make a purchase such as myself and my husband, then you're gonna turn around and say, we're gonna check this background out again. Cause we like make sure they really are. That's shady. If that's not shady to you, I'm gonna tell you what, I bet you I can get a whole room full of people who are gonna turn around and tell you that's shady. This should have been done when we was applying in the first place. That ball should not have been dropped. But now you're gonna tell me else otherwise? I'm gonna challenge you now. I'm gonna challenge you. Once you would put me on that list, guess what? You obligated to me. I am 50% Hawaiian. Nothing less. This was made in the eyes of my grandmother. Nobody gonna tell me any different. I expect to be made right. I expect it. And I expect that everybody else to follow me that stands here, you will do the same for them.
Real quick, I'll address Commissioner Kalepa's question. Yesterday, I did talk to Juan, and at that time, he didn't have enough information to give me on as to what was happening. He had informed me that there was a letter that was sent and he could get the letter. He informed us today that he was given the wrong information, that the letter that was going to be written up was supposed to be generated from here by Jimmy Donovan. And he had told us this morning that he did write up a letter and that he had to send it to the application department on Oahu. And if they got it approved, then he would be able to give us the necessary information. Then we would know exactly what's going on here. Where did they find? But they did tell us today, this morning, that they go beyond what my wife has
He said
for
he just
information.
sent it out yesterday. Now making this call, you know already the process. When somebody is excited that they're gonna have their home and the paperwork taking forever, what we do, we call. We're gonna call. How's it going? I don't like you forget about me. Is it going okay? Well, it's still being processed. or no one picking up the phone. We leave messages and messages over and over again and nobody responding. Thank God for Michelle. She picked up the phone. She would tell me, and she told me, I said, babe, how's the process going? And that's where I found out. That's why I don't have no form in front of me. She said, they questioning your blood quantum, which I was floored because I said, do you not have all the information in front of you? She said, just read it to me. What does it say? Your mother is 100% Hawaiian. I go, what about my grandparents? Only Hawaiian. My grandfather, only Hawaiian. Then where are you questioning it? Why? You got all the information. She said, I don't know, Kanani. Somebody over there in applications is now questioning it. Why questioning this person? You got all the information that's right in my folio. Questioning me. The process should be simple. I gave you everything with my grandmother. Why should I even be here? I should be at work. I should be excited to move in this home that we can call ours. Instead, I gotta fight. I gotta fight for my right.
Anthony, we will look at the documents, we'll work with Juan and staff, and we'll make this thing correct. Look at all
Thank
the
you.
valid legal documents. As a collective body, we'll move forward in the right way. So thank you again. Sorry for
Thank you.
what you're going through. Thank you for your time and
I
coming and sharing
appreciate
them
you
all with
listening.
us.
I apologize for being so abrupt.
Good.
But
problem.
I know you will make right.
Okay.
I know you will.
Thank
Thank you
Anthony.
so much.
Appreciate
Have a wonderful day, a blessed day. Aloha.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Luana Kekealani.
And it's still,
Okay,
I'm putting it up.
okay.
Aloha Commissioners, good morning. I wanted to provide feedback on the testimony that I just heard in support of the testifiers. I did listen yesterday too, so I had a little bit of context before this morning. I think that, first of all, I'd like to say I'm very grateful that that topic is being discussed because it's reflective of a systemic issue that's happening. I cannot speak for other communities, but for Waimea, that this is my community. In particular, I'd like to call out how when we turn in paperwork, there is no standard of operating procedure. Or if there is, we don't know what that procedure is. We've not seen what the steps are. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and this is my profession. Sorry. My profession is to identify bottlenecks where people are being treated unfairly and looking at the system to determine how to best move forward. And in Kanani's situation, I feel like the people who had applied at the time that her tutu applied her, the policy at the time should be what stands. So I'm making a recommendation from a professional standpoint and an educated standpoint that when you guys go back and talk about this, you look at what was the policy at the time, right? I know you know this, but this is my testimony. So lack of standards of operating procedure, and I have many examples of how that's affected me and my ohana since back when my grandpa was living. I'm the granddaughter of Jimmy Akiona. He was one of the plaintiffs in the Aged Hawaiians lawsuit that was very successful in calling out this issue, where people wait and wait with no resolve. They ask questions, and the answers they get are, oh, the letter, the address, the P.O. box. And to no fault of one or any one person, I'm calling out this is a systems issue, right? Moving forward, and I'll try to be quick. When they say they are questioning the 2%, I don't know who they are, and I've never known what their skills and qualifications are to determine race on the basis of heritage. That is a huge field today, and I know you guys know this, but as a Hawaiian, and speaking for my own family that's dealt with the same issue, I don't know that that one person questioning the 2% is skilled in questioning it. Oftentimes when we ask questions, we get answers like, oh, the mail. I always ask for what is the policy that says that is the case? And I never get the policy. I might be told it's in the administrative rules, and I'll go find it. But for things that are not in the administrative rules, I'm never provided a policy so I can understand. That's really frustrating. And I know this commission is going to be the one that turns that around, because I've been following for a little while. And for the first time since I was 9 years old, I used to sit in the same room with my grandpa, my mom, Uncle Sani Kaniho, Uncle Ed Kalama, all of them. I was the kid who was listening to the adults when you're not supposed to be. That was me. And probably why I'm here today. When we turn things into the department, we don't get a confirmation letter stating, Dear Luana Kiakialani, my name is Susan and I work in this office and I'm writing to you to confirm receipt of your document. That is lacking. I think that if we implement that, that might save a lot of problems going forward, again, from a system standpoint. And I think that's it. I just really wanted to support that testimony, because it's to no fault of those 1,000 some odd people that are on the list. I heard it yesterday during the meeting. They followed the procedure. So to be punitive and have them follow a policy that has since been created, I don't think that's fair. I'm sure her tutu followed the procedure and got on the list. So for us to undo and unwind, I don't think that that's fair. I also worry about the mental health implications of doing that to people who thought they qualified. That's a huge concern for me as a healthcare provider. I worry about people who feel like they're almost to the finish line and we're going to tell them, just kidding. They are questioning 2%. I'm really, quite frankly, I'm ready for answers that give me policy, that tell me why, that show me my documents. How did you determine that I'm 35% Hawaiian? Show me, right? But there is the Ho'oulu data center that Kamehameha Schools uses. There, at least in that system, there's some kind of checks and balances. But in this one, I don't think there is. And I just don't want to see those people at the detriment of lack of standards of operating procedure, which I'll share more about. I'm not going to now because it's not relative to the testifiers. Thank you.
Thank you, Luana. Appreciate it.
Now we on the chat.
Okay, J agenda. Thank you all for being here today to provide your valuable testimony to ensure that we can accommodate all testimonies within our allotted time. We kindly ask each of you to be as concise and efficient as possible. Please limit your remarks to 10 minutes to allow everyone the opportunity to be heard. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated and will help us ensure a productive and timely session. Thank you for your understanding and adherence to this request. So first up, Uncle Bo Kuhui.
He's online.
Is he on Zoom?
I can't get my video on, but
Oh,
not necessary. I never comb my hair today.
Wait, try again.
Okay, I tried.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh.
Hey, your hair looks good. Don't worry.
Oh,
Better than mine.
whatever's left. First of all, my name is Bo Kahui. I am the executive director for Laiopua Community Development Corporation. We serve the beneficiaries of the villages of Laiopua for community economic development. That's our mission. In addition, we worked, currently we're working to do a number of different projects on behalf of our community. We believe that I think some of these projects are a priority. First, I'd like to start to thank the commission from yesterday's approval of the Department of Hawaiian Homeland's EIS for the Giannalis property. That well project ultimately triggered, I think, what happened on Saturday, in which the department hosted a meeting at the Hilton, Waikoloa, reaching out to beneficiaries who were on the wait list to come forward and show their interest in the current development at Laiopua Village 1, 2, and Kauai High. This particular offering also gives the opportunity for beneficiaries to go ahead and sign up and be part of a UI, or undivided interest award, if they so choose to elect any one of these projects. They could then get issued a undivided interest award. These UI awards are significant in that they can get kupuna today, can get their award, and that award is transferable to their sibling, to their grandchildren, to their daughters and sons. So it provides the pathway for our kupuna to live their legacy for their keiki. So getting the UI program back on track was central. I supported it for many years. More importantly, my daughter has an undivided interest award in Laiopua. They were the first among the group that received the UI award. It was my brother's award. My brother gave it to my daughter. So he's lived out his legacy for my daughter to take a lease in Laiopua when the time arises. So I commend the commission, first of all, for the approval of the GNL as well, that would trigger, I think, the more housing development here in Laiopua. This particular lease selection on Saturday, I think there's going to be an invitation April 12th from 9 to 5. I think it'll allow beneficiaries the opportunity to sign up for UI. I'd like to move now to Laiopua Community Development Priority Projects. We received in November of 2024, finally a right of entry document. We are working on our preschool with respect to that ROE. We are working with our Architects Hawaii Limited, in an effort to get back on track. As about 2 years ago, when we were working with the Lieutenant Governor's office, we believed that at that time we had the funding in place to build the facility, the preschool. We now have to go back out and seek funding for that development. And we are doing our due diligence to make that happen. Another one of our priority projects is boat storage. We have quite a few boats parked in the community. We have DCCRs that prohibit the parking of boats in our community. And the department has 200 acres down over there at Honokahau Harbor. And we've made numerous requests for the department to set aside about 11 acres for us to set aside for boat parking storage for our beneficiaries and even for leasing, if necessary, so that it could fund itself and provide the necessary funding to operate the boat storage facility. We are also looking to, in our board, we're just investigating a Kapuna daycare center and a Kapuna gathering center at the villages of Laiopua. We know that land is set aside under the master lease for that is held by Laiopua 2020. We don't believe that they are working towards that end. We're not sure. We haven't communicated to them. We have a ways to go. We believe we're going to come out with a model, a Kupuna Center model, daycare facility for Kupuna in maybe the next 6 months. We believe what's happening too in our community is we have a large senior population, large Kupuna population. And many of our Kupuna, you know, they're housing their families, their extended families, and so on. And so this this daycare center might find a way for them to get out, find some respite, but also maybe I think the department should consider thinking about getting a Kupuna housing program together. And we'll be investigating that as well. You know, on behalf of Laiopua Community Development Corporation, there cannot be enough of an effort to do these things for our community. And it all takes a lot of money and energy. My hope is that we will find, I think, the necessary resources to move the needle on these initiatives in which we can make promise, I think, for the betterment, for Kohia's vision, for the betterment of the condition of the Native Hawaiian. And that's really our bottom line here. And that's your mission as well. So together, I think, and collectively, if we can work towards together and maybe even assist Laiopua CDC in this endeavor, we can find the means to an end. I want to take this opportunity to thank the commission. I know it's a hard task. You know, listening to the prior testimony, you know, it's really disheartening. But I believe that the commission will come and find a solution for our beneficiaries, whatever the case might be. On that note, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions? Yeah, Uncle Bo, thank you for everything. We'll be in touch soon. Thank you.
Okay, mahalo. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Uncle Mike Hudson.
Aloha, commissioners. Aloha. Welcome. Welcome to Waimanui. Mahalo for you guys being here. President of the Homestead, President of Waimanui. Kind of what I want to talk about a little bit about where we are at Waimanui. I know some of you visited our facilities and where we're going. A lot of people don't know why we do what we do. You know, and I realized that the purpose of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, I think, was clearly identified in the 5 areas: social, cultural, education, economic, and political rehabilitation. I think the failure that we've come across is that purpose sometimes seems like the Department of Homes think is for them. You know, building that self-governance process. The Department of Homes is a state of Hawaii. You're already one sovereign nation, one of the 50 states. So that purpose cannot be for you. You know, and I say you understand, I'm talking about the entity, yeah, not you as Hawaiians. And so it kind of behooved us to understand greater purposes and understand where we're supposed to go, instead of constantly grumbling with you guys and being upset. You know, once we understand the purpose, then we move ourselves forward. You know, in the process of I had a lot to say, but you know, 10 minutes, I gotta kind of narrow them down, yeah. And so the Department of Hawaiian Homes works on funding, and you guys get your guys' own funding and you guys do appropriations. And understand that the existing homesteads, which is a missing ingredient in the Department of Hawaiian Homes, the existing homesteads. I mean, yes, the Department of Hawaiian Homes' main responsibility is take the Hawaiians off the list and put them on the land. But there's a reason why you got to put them on the land. Because the purpose of the act is to rehabilitate the Hawaiians in an area of economic and political rehabilitation. Kind of hard to organize the Hawaiians if we're not on the land and we're scattered all over the place. So the purpose of the department is putting Hawaiians on the land, whichever way, shape, or form. You know, so we talk about 9,000 plus Hawaiians on the land. That's not true. How much people get divided interest? Bo just talk about divided interest. How much people get divided interest? What's the percentage? What is there 1,000, 2,000 of the 9,000? And how much of them get dual lands, ranch, house, farm, house? You know, so maybe get 7,000 Hawaiians on the land, 7,000 families, Hawaiian families on the land. You know, so we need to put Hawaiians on the land. Any way, shape, or form, put the Hawaiians on the land, because the purpose of the putting them on the land is so that we can organize and reestablish ourselves as a sovereign people, an entity that can adapt to our sovereignty. We never lost our sovereignty. You know, the federal government acknowledges 252 federal laws that acknowledge the Native Hawaiians as a sovereign people. We never lost our sovereignty. What we lost is the government representing our sovereignty. So the whole purpose of the act is putting Hawaiians on the land so they can regain their concept of self-governance, so that we can move our people forward, so we can provide benefits and services that can benefit our people to just decrease the cost of living. You know, that's the purpose. And that's why we're doing. We're not here to oppose the department. The department's job is put the Hawaiian on the land. Once they get on the land, our kuleana is to organize our people in a process of the 5 areas of rehabilitation. So it brings me to where we at today and why I wanted to specifically speak to you guys. Is that funding sources. You know, our homestead had worked really hard for a decade understanding funding sources. We're not trying to take money away from the department, because the department's money is for put the Hawaiians on the land. We worked hard at designing and finding one funding source for existing homesteads across the state, 51 homesteads across the state. And we did that. We did that in 22, 23. And you guys taking our money. You guys never asked for that money. It was us who had asked for that money to fund existing homesteads towards our rehabilitation. I'm not going to get into the weeds about it, but you can go ask. That was money put in by our homesteads. True to ledge, a line item that was added into the budget for us. And it's not being used for us. Please don't take our money. We worked hard on getting that money in there. That brings you to the point of our health center. You know, in the purpose of the act, when Kuyo talked about putting Hawaiians on the land because we're in dying race on the verge of extinction, he also talked about us eating our foods that necessary for our DNA. He told us Hawaiians, our last prince, stop eating rice. Start growing your kalo and uala. And there was a reason why he said that, because we was dying young. So he wanted the health and wellness of our people. That was the purpose of it. It's not necessarily the kalo and uala, but the health and wellness of our people so we can have a longevity in life, so that we can establish ourselves. When you're looking at one health center, you can see why we focus on our health center. We focus on our native health. There's a priority that we focus on. We built one health center that is thriving today. It's designated as an RHC, Rural Health Clinic. But the Rural Health Clinic can only function within the 4 corners of the walls. We cannot go farther and beyond that. But there's a process of why we building our health center on our community lands, on trust lands. The federal government can waive the destination or the distance between federally qualified healthcare centers, you know, so you can look it up later. The difference between RAC and FQHC. But the FQHC has the ability to build satellite health centers throughout the state. But we need a beneficiary organization to build that first FQHC on trust lands, which we are exempt from the distant location of other federal qualified healthcare centers in Hamakua and West Hawaii. With that designation, we can build satellites at every homestead. That's the potential of what we're doing, to care for our people and get our people healthy again. Because one sick nation is not going to happen. We got to be healthy. So we focus on that. So when we're looking at funding sources that we've built up to build a health center, we close. You know, we 3 phases, the first phase, second phase, we got the funds for, and we're working on the last phase. But once we get that health center up, then it's going to be a challenge for our health division to go and get that qualification of an FQHC. To get that qualification as an RHC took us a major task, 5 visits to DC, meeting with HHS, meeting with DOJ, meeting with DOI, to get to that point where we are a federal health care clinic. But we need to get to the next level, because at the next level, we can expand to all homesteads and provide one Native Hawaiian Health Center at every homestead. That's the potential of what we're doing. It's huge and for the health and wellness of our people. So we work on funding sources. Don't take the money that we fight for. You know, and you can talk to the guys in the department. They can explain to you what that money is that we're talking about. But don't take our money, because we work hard to get that money so that we can get to where we need to go. And that's for the health and wellness of our people. Statewide, not just Waimenui. Waimenui, we do focus on our kuleana. You know, we take the concept of an ahupua. And in our ahupua, we're trying to better the conditions of our people here. It's not that we forget the Hawaiians outside of because we're all one people. But if we focus on our ahupua and build our ahupua to be consistent, persistent, fundamental, and provide benefits and service to our people, we can create one model that can be duplicated statewide. But there's some areas that is very difficult, and one of which is our health, the health of our Native Hawaiian people. The process of getting to where we at is not duplicatable. It may be, but not easily duplicatable. So we know there's areas that is hard to duplicate. And one of us is the health center. And so we work really hard to get to build our health center on our community lands. You're going to hear us coming to for funding. And we're going to ask for funding from an area that we had placed money in through legislation to go and move our people forward. So I ask for your kukua and ask for your help as we're moving forward, and understand the repercussions of what we're going to do is something that can expand statewide, especially for the health and wellness of our people. So it's not just isolated to us, but we need that first one up and running so that we can move it forward. And so that's what I wanted to explain today. I had a lot to say, but that was my main focus, understanding it. And most of you guys been to our lands. You guys seen what we're doing. You know, we ended up spending $15 million just for doing infrastructure on our community lands. You know, I know some of you been on the land that says, wow, where you guys got the money? What's happening? Your kuleana is to put the Hawaiians on the land. Our kuleana as beneficiary organization is to build capacity and benefits and service to our people. Different kuleana. You know, so if I left you out of the loop, I apologize. But I'm so focused on our kuleana, and I'm so focused on our people and moving our people forward. Wasn't intentional, but I really mind my own business, and my business is Waimenui. Okay, thank you.
I just have a question. Michael, have you tapped any of those funds yet? The 10 million that's set aside?
Yeah, so this infrastructure funding that we got from the Department of Defense, $8.3 million, was matched by the Department 1.5, and it came from that source of funding.
Okay.
So, you know, I wasn't asking for money that I never helped design and build up, you know. I don't want to take away from your guys' kuleana. Your kuleana is to get the Hawaiians on the land.
Right.
So now I pinch from you. So I can find another source to put into the department so that we could tap into.
Right. But we still have that funding's in there. Do you know what the balance is? Has any of it been used yet?
Well, it's an appropriation. It's lose it or lose it, use it or lose it. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's more than just a purpose for the homesteads, but it's also for a purpose of if the homesteads don't use the money, then the department can use it for facilities that is providing service to the homesteads. So it's not just for grants and homesteads. So that's the planning department, grant department that uses that money for that.
Right.
But if we don't write enough grants for it, then the department should use it, or else it goes back into the general fund.
Well, I'm sure you'll let us know if you put in for it and you don't get it.
No, I've been working really closely with the planning department, land management, and administration on what we're doing. And you know, if you give me some leeway, understand that what we're missing is bringing back the Kuli Kanu program. If you guys understand the history of that system, starting from the 78 Con of establishing OHA, following up with Colleen Hanabusu as the Senate President, creating Section 101, 201.5, 201.6. And he says, well, I never get congressional approval, so the thing not law. We are a politically sovereign state in the state of Hawaii, and we pass law, it's law. Whereas if the federal government don't want to acknowledge it, that's their problem. But we're one of the 50 politically sovereign states. You know, and people get misunderstood it. They say, well, Congress has plenary oversight, which is absolute oversight. Well, they lost that absolute oversight during the 59 statehood. Because prior to that, the governor was appointed by the Secretary of the Department of Interior. So the Congress did have plenary oversight. But once we became a state, they lost that privilege. So we keep using that concept, but they don't. You know, so you kind of run to them and ask them for help because we lost it in statehood. And once we became a state, the responsibility follows at the state to fulfill the mission.
Very good. Thank you.
So I wanted to make sure that we bring back the Kuli Kanu program. So Michael Kani established the regions and built the Kuli Kanu program. He did that in conjunction with our state Congress, creating Section 101, 201.5, 201.6. As they created that entity, followed up with Homestead's building the capacity as nonprofits 501c3 out of necessity, absence of our self-governance, and then building the community development corporations as the economic arm of the homesteads. That was the Kuli Kanu program. What was the end game? I don't know. But we know what our end game is. But we went through that system, and I think 9 homesteads went through that system of the Kuli Kanu program to build nonprofit homesteads, CDC nonprofits, and working towards the development and bettering the conditions of our beneficiaries. That program needs to be returned. You know, so what happened? We lost it. What happened? You know, and in my opinion, what happened was we lost the funding source to fund that so that I move our people forward. So our homestead took the kuleana, finding the funding source so that we can do that.
Yeah.
So that other homesteads throughout the state, the 15 homestead has the opportunity to do that. Sorry.
Yeah, I have a quick question. You know, the 10 million, have you guys done any like drafting of the health center, like what it's gonna look like so that this can
We are
start
far
moving?
beyond that.
Huh?
We are far beyond that.
Okay,
So the first phase is plan and design.
yeah, right.
We funded that, it's done. We already got permits to build them. So now we're working on for the health center to get to that point where we're going to level off the land, build up parking lots and get into structure, which is the third phase is to actually build the structure. So Mike Kuleana, working with our community development division, we had 8 separate divisions. I need to finish the infrastructure. And I didn't even talk about that. And I don't need to talk about that because I'm working hand in hand with the department, with the DOD grant on finishing paving the roads. Hopefully by the end of April, the roads are paved. Some of you have been there. The paving of the roads, working with Jared Kimura on the underground infrastructure for electric and telecommunications. Ag water, our county water is already built to county standards. We're well on our way.
Right on.
So they're waiting for us so that they can get to the health center. But so we're looking at that last area of funding. And we're in the ledge asking for a 3.5 million CIP. And I plan to come back to the commission over the next few years to try to get $4 million. Whether it be $2 million a year to finalize that building out of, and so that we can reach towards that FQHC status as a comprehensive health clinic.
Awesome. I appreciate the update. Thank you.
Got any questions?
Just one thing, more information on this program you're talking about, Koe Kanui. It could, I'm not familiar with that.
Kuli Kanu.
Yeah.
Mike Akane designed that.
Yeah.
It might,
I don't know if anybody.
very few people that been around in
Yeah.
that time than Kuli
Right.
Kanu, but Kuli Kanu was building capacity of the homesteads.
Right.
And at the first funding source came from OHA. OHA committed $5 million, $250,000 per region of the 20 regions.
Okay.
And so in the process, the first 8 regions qualified. They got 250,000 to build their CDC and start the planning and designing to build out their community. At the time, OHA reneged on the 5 million and they only gave 2 million.
Mhm.
So lo and behold, Waimea Nui was the 9th homestead in the process.
Mhm.
And so we didn't get the 250, but the department had worked with us in collaboration and provided the funding for our environmental assessment, I think in the tune of $190,000. So we've been collaborating with the department and meeting that condition, but that program is really essential. And where do we get the money to fund the homesteads once they reach that point?
Yeah.
To build out. So that's what I've been working on. So when you mentioned the 10 million, I've been working on that
Yeah.
for the time.
Yeah.
Also at the Department of Interior level, been
Mm.
working on trying to get the funds in to benefit these 51 homesteads as we moving forward.
Right.
And so your Kuleanas get the Hawaiians on the land, get them off the list. Our Kuleana is build the capacity of the existing homesteads.
Good.
That's kind of a forgotten area, but that's our Kuleana as beneficiaries. You know, we part of the equation and that's our Kuleana,
Very good. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
right?
Thanks, Michael. Thank you, Chair.
Next up, Kawi Peralta. Oh, sorry, I think Jojo. I'm sorry. Already walking up.
Morning, everybody. Mahalo for the opportunity to give my testimony. I was late this morning, so I wasn't sure where you folks were. That's why I raised my hand. Where are we in this program? So, I have a few things that I'd like to bring up with the commission. And that's because communication with the department is really lacking for Kauai High. We can try and contact the department and nothing happens. Nobody calls you back. You can email them and nothing happens. And this goes on for years. So I'd like to go back to 2018. And an example of that was the commission directed the Hawaiian Homes on that school over there. They were charging the school $900 a month, but the Kamehameha schools, $0. And the Kanaoka, now they got more than 10 acres down on Hawaiian homelands, and they pay nothing. So how come Punana and the question was, how come Punana gotta pay anything? They're the ones that went to this whole protesting in the government and the legislature to get the state to recognize 2 languages in the state of Hawaii. How come they gotta pay? And so the question was there. The thing that came out of that, the commission asked the department, go find them land so they can expand their school. Right now it's a preschool, okay? And then now they wanted to go up to, I think it's now 7th grade. They don't have land. So I'm still waiting for an update on that school. They gonna give them this extra land over here that sits with plenty grass? Or is that leased out to somebody or what, or someplace in West Hawaii that the school can move to and expand their program? I get no nothing. It's a silent world. The other thing I wanted to bring up tonight was I had talked with the enforcement last night and asked them what kind of problems they possibly had for Kauai High. And they brought up the subject of goats. That has been our complaint going back to 2018. And they have this Mauna Aina legacy program with the department where they take care of feral animals up on Mauna Kea or Saddle Road up there. So I had volunteered so that Kauai High could at least communicate with the department. I guess they don't want my membership because they never did return my calls, my emails, my letter, nothing. So, you know, after a while, you keep doing the same thing and you get nothing back. You got to change them, right? So what I did was I went to the county, the last administration, and this administration, and I asked them to ask the advisory council, which is the game management advisory council for the county, to go visit the issue of population of goats for Kauai High. So they came up, we were successful. They came up with this program that they are going to try and make a management plan from Kauai High to Waikoloa. And I got a picture of the goat sitting on somebody's house. they're having conversation on the roof. But, stuff like that, evidence to help with this management program. And since the county is working at that, we're supposed to have Hawaiian homes, but like I said, I don't know what they're doing. I had them contact staff, gave them the email. Today's meeting they had this morning at 9 o'clock, they haven't heard anything. So, Beneficiary is not the only one. Then like I said, I had talked to enforcement and I told them yesterday on my way coming up here, I had encountered lots of goats at Honokoa, where we were having our meeting last night. And thank you very much for coming to the community. So you got them on this side, you're all over the place, and then you got them on that side, so the traffic slows up. And then you go down towards the harbor, they're doing construction, and again, the bulldozer operator was chasing the goats on the side of the road because they try to work, right? So that was funny. Then you go down the road to the bridge, same thing happening down there, except they're running around on the cemetery and the historic areas, and they try to chase them from there. So I was late. And I apologize because this goat situation comes all the way up Kauai High until you reach the water tank up here. So the traffic moving very slowly along with all the cargo that's trying to go up and down on a 2-lane road. So that's my second issue. I need some help to get the department. If you don't like talk to me, talk to the county. They're trying to make a plan to address goats. My personal problem is the goats come down from the right of entry permit guy up there. My dogs are tied, so they cannot go no place. And I guess the ROE is not responsible for the watershed, for the water up there, for the feral animals and whatnot that come and attack my dogs. Nobody stay home. I put them in cages but they tie. And the goats jump over, they knock over the cages. So that's my personal problems, which is why I'm interested in management of this stuff. Because the guy up there has no responsibility for Hawaiian homes. Hawaiian homes doesn't monitor that kind of stuff. So. Okay, so the other one is our regional plan that you learned from Lillian yesterday. Number one issue is water. Number two issue is an evacuation road from Kailapa. Kailapa is in the middle of two gulches. One is the historic Honokua where the Forbes Caves are located or was located. And the other side where the Kailapa subdivision could have an evacuation road out to the next subdivision. Nothing happening from the department. Nobody says anything. So I went to the county. A county at this point that I had talked with Mr. DuPont last night, they have put aside some monies for the county portion. What we're looking for is there's a boundary line, Hawaiian homes, county roads. So they would fix this side. But we cannot get on Hawaiian homes. We've been asking for a site visit so that we can align it. Now, to that, the fire organization that we had a presentation from last night, when they put in our fire break, they fenced everything. So we are trapped in the subdivision. It's all fenced in, okay? So they were supposed to make a gate. We're trying to figure out, you make this evacuation road, where a gate would be. So we can put the gate, we can evacuate. No communication. County has put aside in their proposal for funding for this project, and Hawaiian Homes did too, from what I saw in the budget. They have monies, but cannot see what the situation. We can see from the other subdivision And too bad our meeting was so late, we could have went next door and take a look at Hawaiian Homes. But from Hawaiian Homes, we don't know what it looks like, except we do know the fire department went from this subdivision to Hawaiian Home subdivision at some point, even though it's a gulch, so it must be low and available. So we need a site visit, a date. The county public works will be available tomorrow. He never got a phone call, so he don't know when the site visit is going to be, so. Oh, and the goats, they had, I don't know if I said they had the meeting this morning, and their thing is nobody returned their communication. So it's hard to do a plan, I think, but okay. So the other thing that I wanted to bring up, Hawaii Harbor is doing an expansion program. And in their public outreach for the last two meetings, one of them is by the Poly High across from the harbor. They're gonna fill it up. It's the drainage ditch. And normally when it floods on Hawaiian Homes, it goes through this ditch and it ends up in a harbor. The harbor is gonna fill it up, block all the water from Hawaiian Homes, of course, and use that for an extra lane so that the trucks, the cargo can make a better turn into and out from the harbor. So what's Hawaiian Homes gonna do about that water and the residential beneficiaries across the street? Last time they got flooded out. And so Hawaiian Homes had to go deal mode. So I haven't heard from the harbor side where the department has gotten involved. And I'm wondering, how come? It's going to involve Hawaiian Homes seriously.
Okay.
So one of the problems that one of the solutions I brought up last night, and I want to reiterate, is the water. What are you going to do with that water? So I had suggested, as part of the next steps for that program that Lily had proposed, was ponding. We on our side, instead of having the flood come through everybody, we should put up ponds up there. Kauai High had fish ponds, salt ponds, egg ponds, watershed, but it's not in the plan. It was once upon a time.
Okay, I
but
think can you
I
please
don't
wrap
know
it
what
up?
happened to it. The other thing about that is on the harbor side, where the drainage ditch is and they're gonna fill up, is this mountain of rock and dirt and whatever. And they need to clear that out. So I'm wondering if I can ask you guys as the commission, since the department don't answer, if the department would be interested in taking all of that gravel and creating some place for the pit and possibly using that to fill in our evacuation road in the future, and any other future. Because otherwise, everybody comes to Hawaiian Homes, they take all the material home. The bulldozer operators, they clean up the road, they take the dirt, they take all the paving, and they take it all away. They don't put it back in your lot so you can go fill up the puka. They leave you with the puka. So I'm
Okay.
just wondering if the department would be willing to create a gravel pit for all of these resources. They will be coming up because of the harbor.
Okay, I think
Will
we'll
be
look at
coming
those
up
things.
because we're asking the State Department of Transportation. Instead of ask the department, you can go ask the Department of Transportation about a bypass as an alternative roadway into Kauai High, because otherwise just one road in, one road out. You close that road, nobody go no place. We stop. We already trapped in Kailapa. Okay. So the next place, and it's in the plans, is the Kauai High bypass. And the
Okay,
thing to
Auntie,
think
Auntie,
about though is all of
Auntie,
that traffic
Auntie.
from the harbor is gonna come up here.
Auntie, we have a long agenda,
So-
Auntie. We'll look at those things for
Thank
you.
you. I
Thank you.
appreciate,
Yeah.
I think that's all I got
Okay,
for
thank
you
you, Auntie.
guys. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks. Okay,
Any
next up
questions?
is Chloe Peralta. Is she online?
Yep. Once. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No video, Mike. She doesn't want to be on screen.
It's here. Hunter's here.
Aloha mai kako e nā makamaka.
Aloha.
Aloha. I'm Kau'i Peralta, and I am currently the reporting for Ko'ilani Almeida, who is the president of Panaewa Association. No, PHHLCA. I want to be correct. And so I'm reading her report. Okay, one moment.
It's their last day before their friends and
Yeah.
Heather's mom arrive to see the
So,
cabin.
PHHLCA is working on the following. First of all, DCCA Annual Findings 2024, filed by PHHLCA on April 1st, 2024. At that time, William Brown changed the record and as PHHLCA on May 13th, 2024. According to DCCA, before they used to be able to remove this type of action. However, a judge ruled that the DCCA shall cease doing this kind of action. Therefore, on record, yes, is there a question?
No.
Let me continue.
Alaska, John and Heather's
Okay.
cabin is making its
So,
debut.
however, since the judge ruled that that kind of action shall cease by the DCCA,
I've never seen any.
since they superseded us, the record shall remain until April 1st, 2025. PHHLCA's official filing date. At that time, we will be able to list and apply for the Hawaii Compliance Express. Helu Elua. PHHLCA has not received receipt of our email to Linda Chin regarding filling out the MOA required to financial report by PCA of already spent $60,000 that they received in 2018 to remain compliant with DHHL and the MOA of 2013. Helu Ekolu. License number 788 to new license for Kamoleao parcel listing PHHLCA as sole licensee as recommended by LMD Linda Chin at 2013 when Haola, which was our nonprofit arm, dissolved. Is the commission going to be able to get this done by April's meeting? Yes, I just have a few more things. And this is regarding Panaewa created the Panaewa Homestead CDC. And this was created in June of 2022. We received the IRS approval letter in 2024 for the PHCDC. And the purpose of the PHCDC is to advance the lives of HHCA Native Hawaiian beneficiaries and their ohana who reside in the Panaewa Homestead Tract, Waiakea, including the following programs: health and wellness, education, entrepreneurial, housing, etc. Mahalo. Any questions?
Mahalo. Kau'i. Thank you.
Mahalo, Chairman, Commissioner Kaleikini.
Sorry, in the bathroom. Okay. Next up, J7, Ati Kanani.
Come on in. Oh, this is beautiful. Yeah, read it for heat, so you'll feel it. Read it. Yeah, it's awesome. I love all this.
Good morning, all. It's nice that you are in Waimea, then I can come and say a few things. First of all, you have a letter there regarding Act 80, which reduces the minimum Hawaiian blood quantum requirement of certain successors to lessees of Hawaiian homelands from 1/4 to 1/32. I have a chronology there. July 2017, Act 80 was signed into law. December 13, 2017, the Deputy Attorney General responds to Chair Masagatani's inquiry on whether Act 80 requires consent of the U.S. via DOI. 2022, USDI Office of the Solicitor writes to Representative Pace and Senator Kahele stating that the state's response lacked data requested, that consultation with beneficiaries still needed to be conducted. December 2022, the SHA responded to that Solicitor General letter. Today is March 18, 2025, 8 years after the act was passed. We're still waiting for action. DHHL has yet to conduct consultation with beneficiaries on Act 80 and respond to questions posed by the Department of Interior. Their responsibility on amending the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act is clarified in CFR 48. What is the problem? So, I'm half blind. Is that Miss over there sitting there?
Oh, legal, yes, that's her.
Lego. I request action on a bid on behalf of all the lessees who whose families could benefit from this, working on this so it can move forward. Anybody have anything to say about that?
Wait, what, do you have any update on, yeah, please?
I have all the, whatever I have all the material listed. I didn't have time to print it. And then I had it all ready to do something with, and then I spilled a bottle of water on it. But it's all crumpled, but I can provide these letters. Yes.
Am I taking Auntie's time? I just don't want to, okay.
We need a discussion. Yeah, go ahead.
So, thank you, Auntie Kanani. I really appreciate your strong advocacy on this effort. She is correct that the act was passed. The department provided a response. DOI has continued to ask for additional information. We've attempted to give them as much information we can access without going to every single file manually to get the information they're requesting. Part of why there was a delay was we knew we were doing the 2020 beneficiary study. We had hoped that that would give DOI the information they needed. Unfortunately, they've indicated that what we've provided is not enough to what they're looking for. So that being said, Auntie Kanani is correct. We're at the point of the conversation where I do think we need to have that kind of beneficiary consultation so DOI can go directly and get the information that they're seeking from beneficiaries. I've been in conversations with DOI staff. I think we were gonna try and look at something this year, Auntie Kanani, but I can circle back. We were unsure about the government shutdown that was being discussed, so we didn't firm anything. But now that we know that there's a continuing resolution, I will circle back with DOI staff, Lisa Oshiro specifically, and see if we can look at some potential dates. As long as the community does not object, there is going to be beneficiary consultation on rules coming up. And so one of Lisa's concern would be too much beneficiary consultation all going on at the same time. We didn't feel it was appropriate to pause that one for this one to go because they were ready to go. So we are looking at maybe summer or fall, but I'll circle back with DOI and Lisa Oshiro for sure. Auntie, I think Shaw is doing a conference in June, and I think she wanted to use that as an opportunity to do some consultation there as well.
Yes, but that won't include, that hopefully will include members from each HBA, but you will still need to, we're gonna drill those two Hawaii members of the Department of Interior. But the consultation will still have to happen. And as far as what the consultation that is planned now, I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, they're doing their work, but we have, this has fallen through the cracks, and it needs to be, I look forward to that consultation and to the request, the information gotten from that consultation. And then I want a copy of the response of communication to Department of Interior. Anybody know what the CFR 48 is? I didn't have time to copy that either. That describes the responsibility of the DOI on amending the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. So there's a lot of sharing. So you have a committee work on that? How do you let the commission know the progress?
So what I will say is the response was provided in 2017. We were told additional information was needed. The thought was, we're gonna do this beneficiary survey in 2020. Let's utilize that as the vehicle. So that went forward. Unfortunately, it wasn't sufficient information. They then asked for additional, we're trying to respond. If you're asking Auntie Kanani for it to be on the commission agenda periodically for updates, I can speak to chair and put that request on, maybe specifically for when we're in Waimea. There's probably more communities, but the communities that I've heard most about this issue is Kalamaula, because they're the oldest homestead community. And they were some of the ones who pushed for the legislation at the time. It was introduced by Representative DeQuoit as well as the department. But Representative DeQuoit's bill is the one that got passed into law. And then yourself in this community. So if in those communities, Kilkaha is also the second oldest. So when we're back here, in Hilo could be another opportunity. So we could definitely take a look at that and loop at. Obviously, if we are going to do beneficiary consultation on this, we'd come to commission and inform the commission of the dates.
Thank you.
And all of the information. So at least people can know about it and we can get the word out and publicize it for people to participate. So I hope that helps, Auntie.
Well, going to the oldest homestead, what about the later ones? I have two sets of grandchildren who have 360. I'm sure there are many families who have eligible successors are stuck up in figures like that. Okay. Have any of you seen the CFR 48 from the Department of Interior, which describes 47 describes how they work with exchange of properties, of lands. 48 works with amending the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. I think you should share that with them.
Okay.
So they're aware of that and know what you gotta be responsible for. And if you're gonna do any land and exchange, that has to be, they should be aware of that.
I'll provide the information to Leah and she'll share it with the commission. DOI has a really good website with all of that information, so.
Okay, thank you. I have one more item. that I'll, I didn't know it was handled last night and has to do with the water in West Hawaii. G5. Okay, West Hawaii water projects and issues. One main issue is at Honokaia, additional acreage at Honokaia, that was awarded to be a no water system. You put in your own water catchment. The rainfall at the top of that was 39 inches. To support the water catchment system, you need 60 to 80 inches. That's at the bottom of Old Mamalohoa Highway. Right next, in 2006, the county put in with our funds a 500 million gallon well and system. And 206 is when they were working on the additional acreage parcel. Neither of them, the EAs of either project, didn't even mention what was happening with the neighbor. That's our only. So I have proposed a standpipe at the bottom of Honokaia at the county, so that the people don't have to come all the way here. Like yesterday, a mention was made, you folks are backwards to there. Somebody was,
Filling up water.
he was getting water, he was Honokaia additional agent. Not Kala, Kala was there. It was Solomon family. Yeah. Was Mauloa. He made 3 trips to at least bring his water tank up. He tries to keep it up 3/4 level. But to have to travel that distance is absurd. And I did talk, then Linda Chin tried to make a deal with that, I think, and I talked to Kahana yesterday about that. I want you folks to know that that needs to be done. And I'm sure they're gonna work on that. I needed to share that. That's important. Okay, any questions?
No, thank you, Auntie. Any questions, commissioners? Thank you, Auntie.
Thank you very much.
Next up, J. Robin Kaylee Nohomoku on Zoom. Okay, testifying for Auntie Kikua Inamoto. Robin, are you online? Yeah, we can come back to Robin. Is Jermaine Myers online?
Aloha commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Aloha chair and commissioners. My name is Jermaine Myers. I'm a Nanakuli Hawaiian Homestead lessee. At the same time, I'm still on the Big Island agriculture waitlist since 1988. To clarify, I'm a lessee because my uncle transferred his Nanakuli residential lot to me in 2001. I didn't get a lease award directly from DHHL. So if my uncle didn't give me his lot in Nanakuli, I would still be on the residential wait list as well since 1988. This is the reason for my advocacy. My first concern, Act 279, and its original $600 million appropriation. Why did this commission deviate from the original Act 279 strategic plan and budget that was submitted to the legislature in December 2022? Why did this commission approve a pig to deviate from the original plans and budget? Because your deviations removed less applicants from the wait list. Your pig deviations encumbered $363 million in fiscal year 24 to serve and remove only 185 applicants from the wait list. Again, your pig deviations encumbered $363 million in fiscal year 24 to serve and remove only 185 applicants from the wait list. Your deviations and mismanagement of Act 279 funds forced over 1,000 applicants to remain on the wait list and continue to wait to be returned to our lands and continue to wait for a 99-year lease for their ohana and future generations. The original 2022 strategic plan and budget of $600 million, if followed, would have created a minimum of 2,700 lots and a maximum of 3,000 lots, removing between 2,700 to 3,000 applicants off the wait list. It also would have served the longest wait list, which is on Oahu. The original plans would have removed 1,525 applicants from the Oahu wait list. Every month in 2023, when Stuart Matsunaga was at DHHL and the administrator for the Land Development Division, he provided the commissioners and the public and the beneficiaries monthly Act 279 progress status reports. Since he left, none has been provided to this commission, to the public, or to the beneficiaries. When Stuart Matsunaga submitted the fiscal year 2023 Act 279 report to the legislature, which is mandatory, ending in June 30th, 2023, the report shows that DHHL had encumbered and expended $192 million. The number of applicants on the wait list these Act 279 funds assisted is 1,489. Again, from the $192 million encumbered in fiscal year 23, 1,489 wait listers were to be removed from the wait list. According to Stewart's last progress report to the commission in December of 2023, before he resigned from DHHL at the beginning of 24, Stewart reported that he encumbered $2 million for fiscal year 24 related to 75 lots. Stewart also reported that he requested for the release of Act 279 funds for fiscal year 24 in the amount of $239 million related to 775 lots. He also had additional projected encumbrances for fiscal year 24 related to 504 lots. Stuart Matsunaga followed the original 2022 strategic plan and budget. But the majority of individuals on this commission approved the chairman's pig proposal to deviate and change the original strategic plan and budget in November of 2023. Then again, in October of 2024, assuming we had more than $600 million in Act 279, yet we all know Act 279 only had $600 million. In November 2023, Chair Watson assigned himself in the chair of the pig as the chair of the pig. He also appointed to the pig Commissioners Freitas, Kaniakua, and Marfell. Did the chair provide commissioners with the fiscal year 24 Act 279 annual report to the legislature that he submitted in January 2025? Because according to the fiscal year 24 Act 279 annual report, DHHL encumbered and expended $363 million. And the total number of applicants on the wait list these funds assisted is 185. I repeat, when the commission deviated from the original strategic plan and budget in fiscal year 24, DHHL encumbered $363 million to take only 185 applicants on the wait list. First, why only 185 applicants for $363 million? That doesn't include the house. It is only the infrastructure of the lot. When I do the math, DHHL spent $1.9 million per waitlister. Instead of doing the infrastructure, DHHL should have just given each of the 184 applicants the $1.9 million each and let them purchase fee simple land anywhere in the state. That money could have buy them not just the land, but also a house and an ADU in the backyard with change to spare to buy furniture for the house and a brand new car to park in the garage. The fiscal year 23 and 24 encumbrances and expenditures totaled $556 million to assist 1,674 applicants on the wait list. When you add to the budget $60 million to address barriers to home ownership, all $600 million have been spent. The state needs to audit the Act 279 funds and deviations and this commission. This commission mismanaged our taxpayer dollars. DHHL and its current administration mismanage our taxpayers' dollars. When our state mismanages our tax funds, the taxpayers are punished. Our cost of living increases when the state charges us more taxes to pay for its expenses. Native Hawaiians on the land and on the wait list also suffer with higher tax-paying lives. Now that the federal government is making cuts, the state is forced to pay for the expenses the federal government will no longer pay. Total financial fiscal stewardship should be a requirement of DHHL and this commission. Ke akua pu, God bless all of you.
Okay, Robin, are you in line?
Yeah. Aloha, yes, I'm here.
There you go.
And I think Michael has my PowerPoint.
Stand by.
Mahalo. Aloha mai kako e nā Hawaiian Homes Commissioners. My name is Robin Lehuanani Keali'i no Homoku, and I'm presenting on behalf of Pulehu Nui Hawaiian Homes Association and Pa'upena Community Development Corporation, an upcountry-based beneficiary organization. I'd like to just review very quickly who Pa'upena is. Their mission is to provide resources, training, and advocacy to empower fellow Hawaiian Homes Trust beneficiaries to build homes and self-sufficient communities. Their vision for this upcountry Maui-based entity is to fulfill Prince Jonah Kuhio's Kalanianaole's vision for Native Hawaiians to reconnect with Aina in agricultural, pastoral communities and to share this throughout the Pai'aina. And their goal is to access and develop 5,057 Hawaiian home acres at Keokea, Waiahuli, Maui, and turn these into thriving farming and ranching communities. Concerning, so I'm sorry, I just need to just preface this. I would like to update the commissioners on the Pulehunui South, a 27-acre Keokea Waiahuli homelands parcel, specifically about its water catchment, archaeology, and water meters, and 3, Maui State of the County speech addressing homestead real property taxes. So concerning Pulehunui South, the Pulehunui Hawaiian Homestead Association held its second fourth Sunday of the month meeting on February 23rd, 2025 at Pu'unene, it's located alongside Maui Veterans Highway. And the attendees inspected 2 of the 14 World War II bunkers on that particular acreage. Michael, could you play that video, or am I able to select that video? Maha. Thank you.
So she can. Robin, you can play it, I think, because you're co-host.
She's gotta reshare.
Okay, Robin, you run it. Sorry, go ahead, you're co-host.
Okay.
Yep, you have to reshare your PowerPoint and then click play and
You know what? It's okay. Let's skip that. Sorry. But basically that video was a video of the inside of one of the bunkers that was filled with graffiti. But you can see from just the photo itself, it's hard to see, it's blackened out. The amount of graphics that are inside this particular bunker number 7. And then to the right, you'll see the meeting. It's actually our January meeting for our Maui beneficiaries. It was our first meeting for the Pulehunui Hawaiian Homestead Association. Okay, we can move on to the next. We also met with Maui County Councilwoman Yuki Sugimura and Representative House Finance Chair Kyle Yamashita, and beneficiaries that you see is myself, Kikoa Enomoto, and Pono Asano. Sorry, the sun was so bright that morning. And basically we are talking with our council members and our representative in helping us to move forward the agendas regarding water catchment or water meters with the state, and also to assist with the work that we are looking to do there at the Pulehunui 646 acres. In addition to meeting with Representative Yamashita and Councilwoman Yuki Sugimura, we also met with Maui Housing Director Remy Mitchell on February 20th, and he continued and committed to support the $376,000 for the proposed 646 acre lot at Pulehunui South's project planning fees, and adding it to the mayor's budget. And this here, I'm almost done, is regarding the 127-acre Keokea Waiahuli parcel. Pa'upena is completing a gutter system for its 30,000 gallon water catchment installed. And also the CDC will have started a 6-day spring break archaeology intensive experience, which is, I believe is the next slide. So this is the catchment system. Here, they're actually on site right now, which is why Kikoa was not able to make it today. And right now, what's happening is there is a 5-day archaeology intensive workshop going on with approximately 14 members from our Maui community. And you'll see in the on the left side, that's Tanya Lee Gregg, the proprietor and owner of Aina Archaeology. So what they're uncovering here is some of the remains of what was an Uala terrace, or that particular area was growing a lot of Hawaiian plants and fauna, and they're uncovering one of the terraces, one of the Uala terraces. So it's wonderful to have these volunteers come on to the site. They're preparing for an archaeology survey and report to be done for the CDC for Paupena. This was actually a video that Auntie Kikoa sent to me this morning, but we'll just add it to the records for today. But if you folks ever have a chance, it'll be really great to see the work that's going on right now live, as I'm speaking, some of the work that's going on up at the property. And then to close, on March 7th, the State of the County speech by Maui Mayor Richard Bisson says that he will be introducing into legislation the resolving of the long-standing real property tax delinquencies for the Department of Hawaiian Homesteads, the delinquencies totaling more than $6 million. And we can move on to the next slide. And the last thing that I wanted to share is an update on the Pulehunui 646 acre parcel. I wanted to show some of what's happening there at that property for a purpose of one is to allow the association, as I heard yesterday, the importance of working with beneficiary-led associations. And this is really exactly one of them, which I'm the president of, the interim president. But as you can see here, this is the gate that enters onto the parcel from Monsanto. And so on the left side, you'll see the gate. It looks secure, but it's not. If you take a look at the photo on the right-hand side, there's no lock. And in fact, the area that the lock was secured on is broken. I've spoken to Shelly Carrera 2 weeks ago and kind of shared with her the importance of, or some of the things, the activities that are going on that property, and the importance of ensuring that this property is secure and safe. And that we can keep out what we call the two-legged rodents that are seen on that property nearly every day. Next. This particular photo was taken yesterday by Shauna Allison Keanuenue Holovahine. And this particular photo shows these people that are walking onto the land and cutting down, as you can see, kiave that looks to seem like they're doing it to sell, like they're preparing these to sell. They told us that they're cutting it for Uncle Russell. We don't know who Uncle Russell is, but we told them that they had to get out, that they were not allowed on this property. But just wanted to show you some of the activities on how our properties are being walked onto and people are capitalizing on the resources there. Next. Oh, and so that's it. It's just an overview of some of the things that's going on. We'll have more next month, but I also wanted to take this time to to Mahalo Kanani Abe, who spoke this morning, and my sentiments to her situation and hoping for a good resolve. And also wanted to reiterate the importance of why beneficiary-led associations are important, because we are the eyes and ears on the ground. We are the boots on ground doing the work that needs to be done, because we all know the department is primarily out of Oahu. It's hard to get people here on Maui, or Shelley or her department to come to Maui to manage all of this. And with that, I do want to say that we submitted our request for right of entry back in November. I asked Shelley to give us an update because it has been more than 90 days and there has been no questions from the commission or any concerns directed to our organization. And lastly, I just want to also thank Commissioner Nevis for providing the information from another beneficiary on Kauai who contacted me in regards to getting support to do the work that we need to do in order to secure the borders of our land here on Maui. Mahalo, everyone.
Robin. I wanted to, Robin, I've been following you guys, and the reports that you guys have been providing us is amazing and awesome. And I just want to go on record and say that, you know, I support that. And I know you guys have been trying to get me out there, and I apologize because I've been really busy this last couple of months, but I've been talking to Kainoa and Pono. So next week, I'd like to make an appointment to go out there with you guys and get a site visit. So I appreciate you guys' hard work over there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mahalo for that. I know you're busy, and that's the whole thing. That's the whole purpose of us being the eyes and ears and the boots on ground to really watch for what's going on. I mean, what you're seeing, these photos are really a very small, you know, view or view of what's really going on inside of that property. We've already twice have had to ask the same people to move out because one of the bunkers, they've taken up residency inside of it. We know who those people are and we asked them to leave, you know, so hopefully within the next few days, when we went back the second time, you know, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go, we're gonna leave. But this is what happens when we don't really have secure borders and people are coming in and out. That gate that I showed today is just one area that they're getting in. There's actually 3 other areas where people are gaining access, and that is directly from the highway.
Yeah, I seen that. I was driving by last Thursday and I saw some guys coming out of the bushes there. So I think you guys, his presence is important to the vigilance, and the fact that you guys are there and doing stuff, I think is awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Mahalo.
Thank you, Robin. Next up, Kapua Kilekoa Kamai online.
Aloha, and thank you for this opportunity to share, commissioners. First off, I would like to thank all of you for accepting the position of being a Hawaiian Homes Commissioner. It carries a lot of.
Well, sorry, can you speak up? We're having a hard time hearing you. Or maybe just the microphone. Thank you.
I just turned up as well. I hope you can hear me better now because I'm normally a loudspeaker.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
So I wanted to thank you, commissioners, for serving in this capacity. It does carry a lot of burden, sometimes very deep and personal, as it is to us beneficiaries. And I don't only speak for the beneficiaries like myself that have already been served, but I also speak about the beneficiaries, especially that are on the wait list and those that are in the application process and those that are yet to come. I have 3 in my own household that are on the wait list. So when, you know, people think that those of us that are on the wait list, that those of us that have already been served, which I definitely have, should stop talking. I just want to address that by saying we're here for our waitlisters, our family members, and for those of which we don't even know. But we want to ensure that the commissioners and the director steer our department in a way that benefits all of the beneficiaries, those today and those to come. And to this, I want to thank all of the leaders that show up when necessary, like Mike, who shared such a wonderful plan about Waimea Nui and how he's doing such an awesome job taking care of his ahupua'a, of his homestead lands, and how he's unified his whole community. And yes, there may be those that don't agree, but when you understand what's best for all of us, you have to give a little. And to me, that's what we all need to do, is to give a little. I also want to thank Bo, for all of his decades of building up La'iopua and doing things that he's doing today. And also for people like Puni Kekaoha, who I'll disclose is my first cousin, so proud of, and want to do the things that Papa Kolea has done for their community. Those are leaders, and many more, like Auntie Kanani, and like Auntie Kekua, so many that are still with us, and so many that are coming. I want to thank them in advance for doing the jobs that they do. Regarding a previous testifier, actually, before I move on to that, I also want to congratulate Commissioners Lasua and Kalepa on your confirmation and knowing where our priorities are and how we attend to them. And so I'd like to share a little bit about a former testifier, I think Kanani Abe, and how she's been on the wait list for over 40 years and how she's being questioned. And I take it that because she's transferring, that's what's bringing her up to the application process. Now, like she stated so well, is that when we apply, that's when we should be vetted, not when we have the belief that we are already there and just waiting for that opportunity to receive our homestead lot. And I believe that you folks are doing a stronger vetting now, which is what my daughters had to go through. We had to go up 5 generations to prove theirs, and they're well within the 50% and above. But that's just their case. And there are those that are now being questioned. Like former Deputy Director Michelle Kalahani said back in 2013, and I'm paraphrasing it, we're moving forward. Let's move forward. If it's the department's intent to reduce the wait list by removing them that have waited for so long, that is so hewa. That is kaumaha. And I know that you commissioners don't want to be a part of that. And as she qualified back in her time, that's where we need to leave it. 50%, her mommy's side is 100%. So I hope you folks take that into consideration, not only for Kanani, but for those that have been waiting. You folks are busy enough trying to deal with the activities of today. Let's move forward, please, for the benefit of all of the beneficiaries and all of those that desire to be beneficiaries but need to go higher. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to, I'm sorry. I'm not
Sorry.
done. I just wanted to
Back.
thank you for letting me say that piece. I wanted to go back
My
to
fault, my fault.
I wanted to go back to Mike and I'm not impressed. That is almost status quo for Mike. You know, when he goes onto something, he's gonna gather the people and he's gonna kuka until they all come to that understanding. And oftentimes that understanding is his. But he's not perfect. And that's why he has to listen and kuka. Because when Tricia says something, he has to listen too, as well as his other advisors and committee members and chairs. So I totally commend him and I support his plea that the department expend the monies as he's obtained them and to not utilize them or touch them in any manner. And I also wanted to speak to Act 279, which is what I've primarily spoken to you folks about. It's very sad and yet understandable that Director Watson made such a significant change upon his re-entry into our department. I supported him because I know that he can do it. He would spend those $600 million as appropriated. But what I didn't understand, and again, I give him credit for, is believing that we would get another $600 million appropriation. To that respect, it's like you go for it. But when he put aside and pushed back projects that were already in the mill, that had already gone through so much of the process, that is what set me off. And when he's trying to acquire, and while he's acquiring lands that have to start the process, how is that going to help our wait lists? Where are we going to get the fundings to pay for the land, for the EAs or the EISs, should that be necessary? Where are we going to get that funding from? Well, what he did is he took homes away from waitlisters and he put them into a rental category as well as the standing waitlisters. Because on top of that 185 that he's reduced, he's going to put a whole bunch of people on the wait list into a rental that they may one day own if they can endure and survive things that Mark Development imposed upon our Kapolei community, as you heard. Those are not the type of Hawaiian homeland managers that we want. We want a partner, but with people that's going to serve our people. So please, Maka'ala, all the details of all the contracts, and please get them back on track into building homes for our beneficiaries that have waited for decades. And I speak primarily of the one out here in Ma'ili, the former Voice of America. We could have had our people here in maybe 3 to 5 years. But now, they're probably going to wait another 10 years. Besides, all those for the new land acquisitions. And although Micah County was great, if you issue leases to undivided lands, the directors afterwards is going to foot the bill. And that's what Joby and William had to do, is to foot the bill for what Micah did, which eventually it came out. That's why we have our Kapolei homesteads. But then when you ask them, when they're asked by the legislature, how did they reduce the list? They couldn't, because the former director spent all the money and got all the credit. So let's think about not kicking the can down the road. Mahalo nui.
Thank you, Auntie. Next up, J. Levin, Kenna, Stormo Gibson, online.
Aloha. Can people hear me?
We're good.
Okay, great. Whew, thank you, commissioners, for this time. I wanted to build off what the previous testifier just said about the details of projects. Of course, I am here to speak on behalf of the residents at Courtyards at Waipoli, which is a rent-to-own project, a 10-year rent-to-own project, of which successorship rights has still not been answered by HUD about how that will work with this particular loan product. So right now, this is an acquisition proposed by this department with a deadline of May 7th. So the deadline for this acquisition, according to what was passed in September, is May 7th. And as you can imagine, these residents are nervous and anxious because they have still not been shown where they will relocate to on the island of Kauai. I believe there was a petition passed around, and this was signed by 48 residents. This was a petition from March 6th, because they have been asking Interwest Group. Interwest is the consulting company hired by the department. They've asked Interwest Group for an updated plan. You might recall that in January, there was public comment period, and they were very alarmed that the draft plan had mostly units on other islands. And with a budget of 1.9 million, there is no way it would relocate people on the island of Kauai. Well, they did not receive responses to their concerns. So they took this petition to Interwest Group, and Interwest Group has replied in the last few days that they will not be updating the plan. So again, Interwest Group that was hired to help these families relocate has said, we will not be updating this plan. You guys provided your feedback, but we are not changing anything in the plan based on the feedback you provided. Now, the reason it's important for this commission to understand is that if there's no changes to this plan, these folks will not be able to stay on the island of Kauai. Interwest Group has said, well, at the time you get your notice of eligibility, you will be given 90 days, and we will show you a comparable unit. And if you don't like what we show you, then you can take some money, and those are your options. In other words, we will show you an option. If you don't like it, here's a check, and that is our only provision we are giving in terms of your relocation assistance. Well, this is concerning, obviously, to residents who have been waiting for over a year for a plan and still have not been shown where they will move to. But it's also concerning to the general well-being of the Kauai community. I don't know if it was printed out for you, but 3 city council members have sent letters to HUD. Councilmember Mel Raposo, Councilmember Fern Holland, Councilmember Felicia Cowden have sent letters to HUD saying we are concerned that these residents have not been shown a plan for relocation, that Interwest Group has not to date shown them where they will move on the island of Kauai. And if you don't mind, the reason this is becoming a health and safety issue for the island is exemplified by Felicia Cowden's letter. She says right here in her 3rd paragraph, many residents are employed in local businesses and in professions that currently have worker shortages such as healthcare and teaching. An example resident, Carolyn Schwartz, works as the director of perioperative services at Wilcox Hospital, our main hospital for surgical care. Carolyn plays a critical role at Wilcox, and she needs housing within a 30-minute drive to keep her position. If the relocation plan does not provide Carolyn with nearby comparable housing, it is likely she will be forced to leave the island and utilize her professional skills elsewhere. A plan which causes Carolyn and many other Waipoli residents to leave Kauai is not just harmful for these community members, but also for our local economy. I ask this commission to consider asking Interwest Group for an update on where these people will move to and to be able to stay on this island. If you have family or loved ones who need hospital care, if you have ever been in the position of needing someone to get surgery in order to make it, you know how critical it is to have these workers. You know how critical it is to have Wilcox Hospital have a director of perioperative services. Now, the last time we checked in with Interwest about their plan, they provided no one-bedroom apartments available on the island of Kauai. I want to repeat that. There were no one-bedroom apartments that met Uniform Relocation Act standards available on Kauai. Carolyn Schwartz is in a one-bedroom apartment in Waipoli right now. If this purchase goes through without this plan being amended or updated or fixed, she will be given 90 days notice and nowhere to move but off island. There was a woman living in Waipoli last year who, due to rising rents, left. She was the one, and I'm serious, she was the one nurse practitioner oncologist on the island of Kauai. If you had family on Kauai with cancer, it was important that this woman be there to give you services, to provide care without you having to fly to Oahu. If we are creating a situation where critical care workers on Kauai and other people critical to the local economy, where local service workers, restaurant workers, people at the grocery store, people who are teaching children on the island of Kauai are all forced to leave this island because of a purchase without a relocation plan, a viable relocation plan, this is creating instability for the entire island, which is why council members are concerned based on the answers that they heard from Interwest Group on January 8th. Since January 8th, Interwest has made no changes to their plan, and they have stated that they will not make any further changes to their plan. So I'm just here on behalf of these residents asking that this commission request an update from Interwest. Request an update about where these residents will move to. And imagine if you were living in Waipoli knowing that this is supposed to close on May 7th in less than 2 months, and Interwest Group has said, we are making no changes, too bad for you. If you need to move to Oahu, that's what you'll have to do. So I think the plan by Interwest Group needs to be reevaluated. It needs to be brought before this commission. There is a closing date of May 7th. They've had over a year to come up with a plan. I wish I could say that there was better news since last month. I really, really want to be able to give these 300 residents something to stand on, but the response from Interwest Group has been completely disappointing. So I wish I had better news for this commission. And I really, really do hope for the people of Kauai that people like Carolyn Schwartz are able to stay on the island. Thank you.
Chair, let me
Commissioner Nevis.
So Jenna, has any, I see there's letters here that were sent to to HUD by the city councils. Have they got any response from HUD?
So HUD has said we are in a preliminary review of the plan. That's what HUD has said. However, that was about a month ago, so we're still waiting to hear back about further updates since then. I think HUD wanted to be sure that residents had communicated their concerns to Interwest. They wanted to be sure that residents were following the process. And so residents did. They followed the process. They gave their concerns. And unfortunately, the response from Interwest has been, like I said, very disappointing. So I think we are now at that point of going back to HUD to bring up the fact that Interwest has said they're not going to take any feedback. So I think that's the point we're at right now, because, to hear from Interwest Group, we're not making any changes. it's concerning.
Thank you. So Chair, I guess, my concern is when this was approved, part of the approval was, it was stated to provide a reorganization.
Yes,
plan.
relocation.
So I think it's important to have the department contact Interwest and find out what's going on with the plan based on the letters from, from the community. I'm concerned, we have very few medical experts in our medical specialists in Kauai. And the more that leave the island, we're gonna be flying back and forth, and it's really affected our workforce people in that area. So I think we do have a responsibility as a commission to back up what we vote for. And what we voted for in that, even though I voted against that, is that they provide a plan, and it's got to be a reasonable plan. So I'm asking that they go back to Interwest and say, hey, let's look at this plan. Be interested to see what HUD says based on what you've provided so far. Again, but at this point, I think we really need to get the Interwest and find out, what's going on.
No, I agree. We need to make sure they follow the plan that we voted on as a package, right?
Yeah.
And it's enforced and it's lived up to on their side, on both sides of the agreement. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, Auntie Luana Kelani. I'm sorry. Sorry, we're gonna circle back to public testimony. So Luana. So we have 3 minutes.
Earlier you mentioned 10 minutes and I just wanted to clarify, is it 10 or 3?
Your public testimony.
Yeah, if you're
Okay.
then it'd be 10, but. public
I was
testimony is
confused.
3.
So 3, yeah?
Yeah, 3.
Okay. Thank you again. Aloha commissioners. I'm wanting to testify in support of Antikanani Kapuni item number J5 in regards to the Honokaʻia water issues. My mother is a lessee, I'm a beneficiary, and we are hauling 9,000 pounds of water in the back of our truck and trailer 2 or 3 times a week. It's more often when it's dry. But the concern I have is that her concerns need to be supported by the commission because we are on our second vehicle. We've blew the shots, the first truck is done. The second truck is what we're on now. It's not very old, but we're seeing the wear and tear. This spigot behind this wall right here, that's no longer feasible for us because every time my husband comes to fill water, somebody is parking in front of it. There's a party going on in here and he has to come bother everybody and find out whose car that is. And he does that sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. During the dry time, it's twice a day. So that's no longer a workaround for us. In terms of being solution oriented, we do have an idea, a mana'o that from my husband to tap into another source of water that's nearby. We're not plaintiffs in the lawsuit, so don't worry about talking to me. I'm here to help solve the problem.
Okay.
My husband is very knowledgeable about Vai and about this community. He's a cowboy, he's Paniolo. So he has information that he can share with someone. I just don't know who that person would be and what the proper venue is for that communication. Again, for water at Honokaʻia, I would like a special task force. I'm recommending to the commission that the commission formulate a special task force within DHHL specifically for the water insecurity issues at Honokaʻia. I acknowledge that other communities have water insecurity issues, but this issue has been going on for so long. My grandpa got the lease 18 years ago. So we're ranching, we have about 85 head of cattle, and the way they drink water is we bring it to them in a cup and they drink it. And when it's gone, we got to hustle up, get back home, pick up the girls early from school, get back up there and give more water. It just doesn't work. So I am in support of Auntie Kanani's testimony. I also wanted to ask with regard to this issue, I did speak with Senator Richards, who responded to me January 13th, said that he had spoken to Chairman Kali Watson, and he said that they're looking at, they're having broader discussions about securing water for Honokaʻia. It says both Senator Richards and Director Watson are actively exploring potential collaboration with DWS and seeking funding, federal funding, opportunities to support these efforts. So that was January 13th. And like somebody said yesterday, you feel like you made 3 steps forward and then 2 months go by and you go, oh, I don't even know what the update is on that. So if somebody could let me know what the update is on that, I would appreciate it, because Makai helped me get it all the way up to the senator. So I'm hoping to keep moving that forward.
Yeah, just as far as, I'll get a kick from my AG next to me. Just kick me if I'm going too close and end up in jail. But I know there's that whole lawsuit issue with Honokaʻia. I don't know a lot about it. A lot of times when you have called me, I just gone off of the advice from the AG just to say, you know, I can't say anything. But
And I can respect that and I acknowledge that. And that's why I always approach this with aloha, because we're being bound by this. But I'm here to solve the problem. My husband will bring the water to Honokaʻia if you guys listen to what his solution is. He will bring it to Honokaʻia.
So I think for that standpoint, I think who do we talk to? Land management? Is Kahana the guy to talk to?
Andrew.
Andrew,
Yeah.
okay. So, you know, I'll put Andrew Troy in touch with you. As far as with Senator Richards, we've been in talks for a while about different types of water, whether for you folks as well as for down in Kailapa. He did put a bill in asking for $200 million. It didn't go very far. The reason a lot of funding is in jeopardy this session is because of what's happening on a federal level. The turbulence with the cuts, the budget cuts on the federal level is trickling down to the state and of course down to the county. So I was with him, with Lehua and Ori last week, Wednesday. He's going to try to do some other thing. He has a plan B and a C. He's going to try to set up to try to attack other smaller steps, I guess, smaller asks to try to put temporary fixes for water issues. So I will stay in contact with him and I'll put you in touch with Andrew Choi and we'll try to figure something up with
I appreciate that.
And if the AG kicks me, I'll just try to go around and try to figure this thing.
Okay. And then finally, I wanted to highlight that it is a public health concern that there's no water there. There are people living in Honokaʻia. And when you're looking into all of this and kind of like doing your homework on what to bring to the table, there is this FONSI assessment. You might have read it from January of 2016. And this was that inadequate system that the department, I think, was proposing. I could be wrong. But I've had it sitting in my office for quite a long time. And today I remembered that Joanna Cito, she was at the time with the Safe Drinking Water Branch. She had concerns that she brought forth in her letter that she wrote to Ron Terry, it looks like, and it's in this publication. I think it's also online in the form of a PDF. And she brings up the fact that she still had concerns about human consumption with that system that they were proposing. So my point is just to tell you that even though there was a proposal at one time to bring the water up there, there were some concerns about it. And people testified about that. It's been so long. This letter is from 2015. Like I said, Grandpa had the lease 18 years already. So rather than telling you the whole sad story, I'm just referencing a document that would be helpful, that's informative about the issue. And most importantly, as a healthcare provider, to highlight how this is a public health crisis. Water insecurity is a concern when it comes to both physical and social implications for health. So we're not just talking about water for animals. We're talking about people that need water and water being a human right. There is a photo. I don't know if the tech crew over there could put it up on the screen, but it shows that. So that's the water tank that we don't have access to. And Mom's Aina is there on this side of the fence. Oh, it went away. Thank you. It is so close to us that you could literally toss a pebble and it would hit the tank. And we've asked to be able to utilize that water. I can hear the water running in the tank. That's how close our animals are to water. And we do have cattle that die because of lack of water. But we're told that there are oh yes, and Daryl Yoga Ditch, I told the chairman this before. When my grandpa was still living, Daryl Yoga Ditch was with Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and he told, Uncle, I'm going to give you this piece because get one water meter right here. Well, Grandpa went looking for it for 2 weeks with his stick and never found it. And when my mom found it, she asked about it, and quickly they covered it up the next week. So this whole water thing, there's a lot to it.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff behind it. And I'm being objective. I'm trying to be proactive and work with you. The chairman last night, yesterday, he said, we need to work together. And I believe that we have to work together. But if it gets to where I don't see any action, I'm going to start exposing things that nobody wants to hear about. And I don't want it to go in that direction. I'd like you to speak with us, come up with a plan, formulate it, and action and move forward. Because there's some stuff behind all of this that nobody needs to bring to the table with regard to meters. I asked Jim DuPont, what's the status? He tells me to go to DWS and talk to William O'Neill. William O'Neill tells me to go to Jim DuPont and ask him what's going on. So the round robin is not working anymore. It's not.
Totally understand.
And then I also wanted to say, Mom and I registered and we took the Kukulu Kahuai Pono class. I think a couple of cohorts ago, loved it. And in it, they talked about appurtenant rights. I always have a hard time saying that word. And about how certain provisions are allowed for Kanaka that are practicing traditional and customary rights. And my two children are Paniolo, like they're real traditional Paniolo, and they still do real traditional work on the ranch as Paniolo. So I feel like we're hitting all the points, and I'm working through Makai, and I have been for years via email, and I've not gotten anywhere.
Okay, I'll put you in touch with Andrew. I think that's the best first step in this thing.
I'm willing to help solve the problem. I need people to bring us to the table because I think we have a viable solution.
Sounds good.
We're just people that work on the Aina, but we understand where the water is and where it can come from. I think a lot of the people involved in the process might not understand the connection, the why part of it. And that's where I think we can help.
Thank you, Lorna. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm very encouraged by this commission, by the way, I have to say. I'm really appreciative. It's the first time I'm willing to come to the table because I actually have some semblance of hope that people are listening. When you're commenting, Commissioner Neves, I can tell that you read people's submissions. When you ask questions, it's because you spent time looking at it, and I really appreciate that. Mahalo.
Okay, we've come to the end of our agenda. Mahalo for participating. Our next month's regular meeting is scheduled for April 21st and 22nd, 2025 at Kulana Uivi Halau, Kalama Ula on Molokai, starting at 9:30 a.m. Couple reminders about upcoming detailed meetings here in Hawaii. We have administrative rules, Helena-based priority wait list and homestead lessee leave of absence. March 19th, 2025, Hawaii Island, Wednesday at the West Hawaii Civic Center, Building G, 6 to 8 p.m. The next day, March 20th, Waimea, Hawaii Island, Thursday at the West Hawaii District Office right here, 6 to 8 p.m. And March 25th, Ka'u, Tuesday at the gym and multi-purpose room at 6 to 8 p.m. Model for attending, we're adjourned.